But essentially, I think the fundamental is just like in real estate, there's 5 stages to getting into real estate. What I thought when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad years ago, I thought you needed to own rental properties. I thought that in order to get into real estate,
That's what everyone thinks. You need to buy rental properties.
rental property, you need $100,000, $200,000.
Refinance it and
but
all
fundamentally,
that shit.
there's 5 stages to getting into real estate. Number 1 is you become a bird dog. So a bird dog essentially is someone who goes out there who looks for distressed properties, houses that need a lot of work. So essentially what you do is you become a person who finds deals. But this person essentially gets paid a commission. So let's say, for example, I'm reaching out to you, say, hey, I found this property and I think, it looks very distressed. Here's the homeowner's contact. Go talk to him, and then you would pay me a fee. It was like $500.
And what do you call this guy? Bird dog.
Bird dog. So this guy is all he does. So a bird dog essentially think about looking at a property, and what you're doing, you're like hunting. It's like you're shooting a bird, right? So all you do is look for properties that are good a price, and then you try to see if the numbers make sense, and you connect them to like an investor. And step number 2 is you become a wholesaler. Right, a wholesaler now essentially what happens is now you find this property, right, and you depending on you have to find a motivated seller, you have to find someone who's motivated to sell their property, right, and you have to buy it at a very good price, right. So how we find motivated sellers is we have to go out there, we do marketing, right, so we do flyers, either we're gonna do cold calling or we do door knocking.
Or I've seen those flyers where it says, we'll buy your property cash or whatnot, things like that. Okay.
So you tell someone, but usually with wholesaling, though, someone is going to sell their property short. When I say short, they're going to have to go through a problem, right? So either they're going through foreclosure, they're going through, like my first deal that I did, someone actually was going through divorce. You know what I'm saying? So essentially someone is going through a problem and then they're going to contact you, say, hey, I want to sell the house to you and I want to sell off market. I don't want to deal with an agent.
Or so not listed as MLS or what?
Yes, because either their property needs a lot of work, it needs a lot of money that they have to put in, and agents can't really give them a top dollar because at the end of the day, they don't want to buy houses that need a lot of work. So they would come to you, they say, hey, I want to sell this property. Let's say they come to you, I want to sell for $100,000.
Yeah.
You say, okay, bet. So what happens in wholesale and real estate, we sign a contract between, you're the seller, I'm the buyer. We write up this contract. Right, and depending on, we have to do a possession date. So let's say, for example, you give me like 3 weeks to sell your property. You say in the next 3 weeks, I'm gonna buy your property for $100,000. But how you make money essentially as a wholesaler is you have to sell that contract to someone else, right? So you as a seller, you were agreeing that you're gonna give me X amount of days to buy it. So I'm gonna buy your house cash, depending on what kind of condition as well too. Maybe we buy it as is. We don't do any due diligence. That's something we also offer as well, because at the end of the day, as someone who's selling it off market, you have flexibility, because this person probably doesn't want to show it to anybody. They don't want to go to the bank. So we'll cover your lawyer fees. We'll do all that. So we buy it off you and then we sell that deal to an investor. How we get investors, we have to work on our buyers list. We go out there, we talk to people in the market. We say, hey, I got this property. Yes, I got this property. So how you make money is you mark up the deal. So you bought it for $100,000. The fee is $10,000. So you tell this investor, say, I got this property. I want to sell it to you for $110,000. You have to pay me $10,000, but you're going to buy this property for $100,000. But the ARV, which is the after repair value, it has to make sense for them. So after this property is all fixed up, how much is it worth, right? So they have to see the numbers, because if it doesn't make sense for them, so if they're buying it for $100,000 and they have to, spend $100,000 to fix it up, it won't make sense. But if they're buying it and they have to spend like 20 and the after repair value is like $200,000, they have so much mortgage to work with. So essentially, that's step number 2 is you become a wholesaler. You buy, all you do is you're buying properties, zero money down, right? All it really is just an assignment of contract.
Just making a contract.
Yeah. Okay. And a lot of people don't really like it because they feel like it's illegal in Winnipeg and all that. But at the end of the day, we're solving problems. Someone has the option.
You're getting potential buyers and sellers in touch and all that. So you're solving a problem. Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
And someone has the opportunity to sell their property privately. Why can't they sell private? Because at the end of the day,
save some commission and all that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And then thirdly,
why do people think it's illegal or not ethical or whatnot?
I don't know, man. I think a lot of it just comes down to real estate agents. They don't really understand the game.
They won't like you.
Yeah, because if you look at wholesale and real estate, it's very popular in the States. So if you go to the States, literally in Texas, Cleveland, because I was doing virtual wholesaling actually in 2024 when I first got into the business.
Virtual wholesaling.
I was doing virtual for a little bit. Like I tried it out. I started making calls in the US and stuff. I never really went forward. But in the States, bro, you could literally get someone's contact. You can get where they live. You can look at the ARV. You can get all the data
online
in the open market, because you can go on Zillow. You can literally search someone's address. You can see how much it's worth off their outfit stuff. It's kind of pretty crazy. So in the US, it's very popular, but in Canada, nobody really I think in Winnipeg right now, there's 10 guys who are really doing it. Maybe 5 to 10 guys.
Doing it full time
and who are very active of wholesaling.
Fully into it, okay.
So it's not really a huge market. People just because they don't really know, right? So, and then also too, there's like thousands of real estate agents, so nobody really teaches you about wholesale and real estate. They feel like also, remember, you're taking their commission as well.
There's a conflict of interest. Why would they tell you how it works and all that? So that makes sense. So first bird dog, second wholesale.
Second wholesale, and then third is you rental properties. Right, so you start,
and that's the most common one, I think.
Third is you become a flipper. So third, you become a flipper because now you're gonna go buy these houses. Now you have to go to the bank, depending on what kind of, you're probably gonna put down 20%, 10%, right? And you buy this property. Let's say you buy it for $100,000, and then you know that your renovation cost is $50,000. You have to put it to this deal, right? Maybe you're gonna go. How you usually get this money is a lot of people, I think I've heard in this, they raise capital, right? I think that's one of the biggest challenges when it comes to like flipping houses. You have to raise capital, and you have to be very good at doing that too, because then you have to know people, right? Investors have to be able to see, okay, I want to invest into you. I'm going to give you $100,000, and let's say we put $50,000 into renovation, and then let's say we can sell it for $250,000, right? So there's a margin there that we can work with, or $200,000. So as a flipper, your job is to always look at the numbers, because it really just comes down to the numbers.
It has to make sense, like all the repairs that you put in and all that.
Exactly. So then you become a flipper, and then fourth, rental properties. You know, people tell you right now you could build wealth using real estate by being able to buy properties at a discounted price and be able to hold on to them, and they can appreciate over time. Because I think the real estate market, especially in Winnipeg, like the last 5 years, has been going up steadily, though. I think slowly it's been going up. So I think if you bought a house in like COVID, right, you know, right now you're up, especially with the way interest rates really went. I haven't really owned any rental property, so I don't really want to know. But I think it's important, though, you really start off at the foundation level, which is as a bird dog, because then those will really teach you a lot. Number 5 is you become a capitalist. So let's say, for example, now you've made so much money. You started off as a bird dog. Your capital is starting to grow. Maybe you're doing some flips. You're owning some rental properties.
But capitalist, you mean invest and all that?
So a capitalist, think about, Warren Buffett. You've heard of Warren Buffett. He's a capitalist. You know what I mean? He has the guy has so much money to the point where now he can buy any single stock because he has so much cash piled up, right? But that's because he's been in the market for so many years, right? So as an investor, your hedge really is, because at the end of the day, you need capital. In order to scale any kind of business, you need money, right?
100%.
So once you start building that money up, now let's say, for example, you hit a capital stage where now people are bringing you deals. You say, hey, man, I got this opportunity. Can you buy it? Now you could just $100,000 here, $200,000 here. So you have so much money now, you could literally buy any single. Now maybe you're getting into multifamily, right, which is like apartment blocks. And I think that's what a lot of people do nowadays, especially in real estate.
I think you have set up yourself perfectly for the capitalist thing, because you're putting yourself out there, and that's how people will know that, okay, if I have a good deal, let's go to Henny, and he'll be able to provide me capital at some point. Let's say when you scale big enough, and I think, your stepping stones are great, man. I mean, you're doing everything in the order that you mentioned. You started as a bird dog yourself, you said?
Yeah, as a bird dog. And then I'm kind of transitioning into wholesale. And then eventually I want to get into flipping as well, too. That's kind of something I want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but right now it's just building that cash pile, just building it up, taking that money, putting it into marketing, investing it into the communities, right?
Exactly.
But then the thing is, you don't want to just get straight into like buying whole, because now, as I've heard a lot of stories about being a landlord, it's not easy. You know? People have to deal with tenants and stuff. You know what I mean? It's
one of my so I own a house. My parents live in that house, right? So, and we have tenants in the basement and all whatnot. So one of the guys leaving, and he gave me a week's notice that I'm leaving. Now I have an empty room that I need to. Now multiply that with 100 units or 200 units, and it gets crazy, eh?
Imagine cleaning the property and having to maintain it, and that's all you have. Because people say, oh, you can hire a property manager, but in the beginning, you gotta be able to invest your time, right? So I think that's the biggest thing.
I think you made a good point there, that don't jump onto the last thing right away. Don't start buying properties right away without any prior knowledge, because with those steps that you mentioned, you'll learn on your way, and eventually you'll build up some knowledge, some resources, and some network, and then you go buy a house, or because by that time you'll know people to get things done.
And also, too, by that time, you're going to be able to get deals by yourself, because then you're not going to rely on the MLS. What a lot of people do to you see it is like, especially people from my background, they always go to a real estate agent, which is not a bad thing, but it's like, do you understand the fundamentals of like buying a house? Like, can you buy it? Because at the end of the day, you make money on the buy. Fundamentally speaking, in any business, you don't make money when you sell. So if you buy something at a very high price, you know what I mean? And then you're expecting to make money. That doesn't work. No. So I think it's, if you become a very good at marketer and a very good at negotiating, because I think in wholesale and real estate, it's sales and marketing. That's literally what it really is. So fundamentally, if you just get very good at doing that, talking to sellers, getting on the phone, getting rejected so many days, if you could do that every single day, you're guaranteed to find something. Because someone is gonna want to come and say, hey, like I'm going through this problem and I want to see if you can help me, and you know what I mean. Then you just become very good at doing that. And eventually, you work your way up and you get to that stage where you're like, okay, now I want to start owning rentals. But be very good at negotiating. Be very good at getting rejected, because getting rejected is very hard for most people, because they're like, oh,
people take it personally. I believe.
Why would someone say that? But it's like, bro, understand that it's human nature. So this is actually something that I learned from one of my coaches. He said that it's in real estate, it's a human nature business. So really look at when you're dealing with sellers, and when human nature meaning, let's say for example, when you go to the coffee, when you go get your coffee, everybody gets their coffee differently. Human nature meaning when you go up and say, hey, I want to buy this medium double coffee. There's different ways you're gonna say that, right? So humanly, all of us are wired differently. So all of us essentially are going through different things. And if you study human nature, it really goes back to 10, 15 years ago. So when someone is selling you their house in real estate, they're not selling you their house right now. They've been going through problems for the last 10, 15 years. But now essentially it's catching up to them.